Hey fuckers, so before I get into this, the same person actually, they have commented the exact same comment, verbatim, twice now on different videos, asking me to play Kingsguard of all things. And let me just tell you, I've played Kingsguard. I've played it plenty. I've played that thing plenty. I fucking hated it. The only route I could actually somewhat stand was the Fox dude. I don't even remember his name. The other routes were just no, thank you. I'm not in the mood for that. So, anyway, let's get back into Anamnesis, because this is actually a good one. This is actually a good visual novel. That is decent writing, and characterization and world building. So, because of that, I'm going to stick to it and not play Kingsguard, okay? I repeat, I am not going to play Kingsguard. Dawn, that rogue, sneaks in through the curtains, tickling at my brow. I rustle to an uneasy wakefulness. I fucking love that. That line is great. This is a great set. This is a great line. I like it a lot. It's really definitely has style oozing in it. This gives me the sense that this writer knows how to turn a phrase, and I love that. It's not like absolutely masterful or anything, but it's definitely better than most we get in visual novels. Gods above, her kiss is still on my cheek lips. Elma kissed me, lemon, balm, and rosemary. Jesus Christ, you fucking horny bag. Shut up. That part of me, so often awake in the morning, congratulates this welcome turn of events. As as for the rest, there's a pang of guilt on my coal cyst just between the ribs. That doesn't sound. Is that like your heart? Is that the terminology for heart? Probably not. A dagger I've stabbed near my own bloody heart. I stand and stretch, popping several unruly joints at my back, hips, and knees. Oh yeah, old age. You must have lots of joint issues at 58, totally. I am alone, just our remaining goods and the meat and the floor. Not too much of the former. Alma did her level best. Surely she spent the night at her sister's, but I was expecting coal. Alright, out sowing his wild oats, I expect. But he found somewhere soft and warm to bed. Perhaps his last season as a free stallion after all. Now where am I put my cloak? Okay, so here's my fucking theory about what's gonna happen here. That fox fucker from like the who was a professor or something. I bet he's gonna steal his land away from him, and something's gonna happen, and I don't know, but I'm just getting the feeling. A brisk wind blows from the west. Some clouds tumble over the leeward side of the mountain, but they are flimsy and light, unlikely to bear rain. Things look promising for our trip home. The village is quiet, for it cannot be much past 6 in the morning, and yet some movement catches my eye from across the meadows. Folks skirt around the edge of the forest, sneaking back into town under the cover of what darkness remains. Cole stands like the sore Cole stands out like a sore thumb, head and shoulders above the other bachelors. Turn back to the wagon, pretend to take a piss so as not to embarrass him. Morning, boss. Didn't think you'd be up this early. Hard asleep in the wagon with the sun so bright. Yeah, I hear that. Thinking we should be on our way. Got anything that needs doing? Rachel and I already said our goodbyes, so yeah, let's get going. My stomach growls. That's right, I mean since lunch yesterday. And all the fuss of years turn, I kind of forgot. Um, let's tarry a bit longer, if only for breakfast. No complaints here. Ain't working on empty belly. Well, yeah, because if you don't have food in your system, your body starts eating itself. So, yeah, Cole and I take turns washing our paws at the basin. Boris will be busy today for sure. Tavern is full of merchants fueling up for the long hike back to Chelkis. I spot Elma at a small table behind the corner by a window. This fucking place sounds so cozy. She doesn't notice us immediately. Her attention seems focused on nothing at all. Cats are like that sometimes. Shut the fuck up, I'm like that. It's fucking social anxiety dipshit. Plus, I just think a lot. Like, a lot. There's a lot of thoughts in this old think box of mine. Even distractages and startle as we approach. Steam wafts from a mug of tea, carrying a pleasantly grassy aroma. How is grass pleasant? Good morning. Our eyes meet and she smirks. Good. Good. You fucking old horny bastard, you. Jesus. But then she glances at Cole and turns away, hiding her blush behind her tea. Fancy meeting you here. Cole and I thought to grab some food before heading out. I thought as much. Think I'll climb back with you. Getting the fine small dose, but I might feel that for the season. Okay, so we're keeping that part of cat biology in. Okay, that's... I mean, I know it was already explained last time, but Jesus. We're talking about, like, human-sized furries, not about furries, obviously. So, I can't imagine that'd be pleasant. Because, one of my old cats, Mittens, well, I think her name was Mittens at least, she had 6 kittens, and PETA was one of the... I could... It's ridiculous. She yawns, covering her muzzle with the back of her paw. Did you get any sleep? A little. And it's fine, I'll turn in early tonight. The clopping of the publican's hooves draws our attention. Someday I really must ask him for his hangover cure if he doesn't look half as bad as I expected. Morning, folks. What's for breakfast? Oats and chicory for me, if it's no trouble. Wait, what's that smell? Got a bull bundle of fried taters on the fire. One of the merchants paid in salt and it seemed ashamed of to go to waste. I'll be. Scratch the oats, I'll have some of that instead. Sure thing. Colin? Eggs with some honey. Carl always did have something of a sweet tooth. And to wash it down. Some more beer, the full eater. Got it, anything more for you, miss? I'm fine with my tea, thanks. Back in a few, then. Makes the floorboards creak as he walks away. Cole clears his throat, his hoof tapping all staccato-like next to mine. I love the... Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. The writing here feels so polished and natural, but I know for a fact, because I've tried, like, when you're trying to write in a way that seems polished, like purposely polished and purposely effortless, it is so difficult. Most of the time, I just write whatever I fucking feel like writing. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but yeah. So, what's in your mind, Cole? We need to talk about me leaving the farm sooner rather than later. Elma sighs while holding her paws on the table. I really like how, their relationship, these people's relationship, is being set up without it being explicitly stated. Because that's a trap that so many writers fall into, is just automatically giving away everyone's relationship to each other. Instead, here you have to infer it. You have to infer the connection between these people. And I love that a lot. It stands to reason. You'll inherit what? Thatcher's farm 3 times over? 4 times, and on top of that, there's a great longhouse to maintain. It'll be sad to see you go. That's not him. Whatever. 4 times, on top of that, a great longhouse to maintain. I'll be sad to see you go, that's for sure. But it was always your dream to start a farm by yourself. Well, you and a certain mayor, I'd imagine. Perhaps. So the question is, how soon are we talking? Is there anyone in the clan willing and able to take your place? Surely anyone as talented as Cole is already gainfully employed. Colin laughs meekly. Asked around a bit yesterday. Best I could do is a cult from a branch family. Which one? One of the Rokes, the downriver side. He's a first year, so you have to break him in gently. I thought, fishermen, not farmers. Well, this one ain't, I guess. What do I know about teaching a horse to plow? Even Cole had a couple seasons under his belt before he started with us. It smells wrong, all wrong. How about we hire a bull? There's a few of those around. Yeah, you might find one. Wouldn't advise it. Why not? Because then the next house will want twice as much. No, I'd rather the hot down field fallow than risk the horse clan's ire. It's... She bites off the rest as Boris comes back around, a mug in either paw and a plate on either arm. That is some talent right there. Holy shit. Alrighty folks, fried taters with a ram, a chicory swing, or a me. Am I right, Elma? A heap of oats for the fine McQuinn, gentlemen, and a liter of beer to wash it down. Oh, and a chunk of honeycomb on the side. Much obliged. What the fuck? Okay, I did that completely wrong, but whatever. Thanks, Boris. What do I owe you? Kind of expected him to weigh me off again, but instead he counts sheaves and half sheaves on his fingers. Let's say 5, fair enough. Aye, fair. It's 5 sheaves between friends after all, when yesterday alone I'm up 300 or 400. Never mind, we'll be down the rest of the year. I should ask Elma for the final account when we get back, now that I think of it. Thanks kindly. Dig in. Tears are nicely brown on the outside and light and fluffy on the inside, soaked in butter and rosemary. Why is there so much rosemary? Jesus. Elma's attention drifts back out the window, her claws sheathing and unsheathing idle distraction. As for the win... Pauses, taking a hefty draught of beer to clear his throat. Oh, that's better. As for win, well... Thinking about midsummer... Wasn't exactly said as a question. Where did he learn to drive such a hard bargain? And the curious timing, too. Wasn't kidding about summer weddings. God's midsummer, well, that's not great. Scant 2 seasons to rework my entire operation. I'm sorry, Thash, but that's the long and short of it. Push my ears around with a nail as though that's gonna solve my problem. I feeling alright, Thatch. My eyes were bigger than my stomach. You want some, Cole? Ladies first. 1 or 2 wouldn't hurt if they'd otherwise go to waste. Yeah, as many as you'd like. Much wouldn't play in her direction. She spears a piece with her claw and sniffs before taking a nibble off the end. Cole looks at me like he expects me to say something. Alright, we'll make it work somehow. You'll be working your hose to the soul until then, you hear? Fine by me. I can show up at the plow tomorrow if you'd like. I would. Last frost is next week, you know. I'm well aware. So then, should we wrap things up here? Mama licks her paw and fuss with her cheek tufts. I'm ready when you are, Cole. Plenty left undone, but nothing doing. Oh man, the vibe I'm getting from this is really cool. Yeah. Oh boy. We say farewell to Boris and backtrack to the wagon. For appearance's sake, I slap a respite together. There's so much less in the wagon this time, so it doesn't strain me so. With Cole pulling in front, Elma and I bring up the rear. Outside town, the two of us link arms. Her tail keeps brushing at my rear. It's not a little tick for a cat to have. Then I realize she's trying to twine our tails. Well, I've not got much back there for that. Guess it's the thought that counts. We reach home just a hair afternoon. That is a fucking cool house. Jesus, I like that. Dash, call Elma. As we turn the last corner, I spy a small face peeking out of the top of our grace catchers, the one he built, of course. That beige streak scampers down the ladder and across the field to greet us. Clasps her arms tightly around my shoulder. Whoa, little buddy. Don't tackle Thatch like that, you'll bowl him over. I'm sorry. You're fine, lad. Take more than that to topple the ram. How was town? Oh, it's still there. Did we make a lot of sheaves? A couple, I'll say. What was the last? What's the festival? Were there any other weasels? One thing at a time, Sprout. Yeah, I know you mentioned there was another weasel. Yeah, I wish I could have gone. Promise, Tan, I'd bring you next time if you keep up with your chores this season. Anything happen while we were gone? No. Well, I saw a raven on North Ridge, and then another one showed up and they started fighting. Really? Oh, not a fight, or not fighting exactly, just calling really hard and pretending to peck at each other. Oh, they were feral ravens. Yeah. You think they can talk to each other, I mean? I haven't the foggiest. Sam, what do you think? Who can say? We know they have some measure of reason that they dream. They dream? Hey, maybe we should unload before we get too deep in the woods. You're right. Cuddle in a paw, Silas. Well, you're talking about ravens, and ravens are about as smart as a human toddler. So those things are fucking smart. For birds. I kinda need to refresh the other grace catcher. Didn't you have all morning to do that? Yeah? I tell you what. Help us unload the wagon, I'll help you with the last catcher. Deal? Deal. Jesus Christ. What the fuck's going on? And I start thinking that that's not her voice. Now start thinking about dinner. Silas isn't much use carrying heavy things with his spindly arms and stubby little legs. I've been concerned for a while now that something around here stunted his growth. At his age, is big enough to heft a lame calf over my shoulder and hoof it up to pasture. But he's nothing like a ram, so it's hard for me to tell. Step aside, please, Thatch. Oh, sorry, Cole. Must have been gathering wool. A lot of that going around today. Silas is fiddling with the handbrake, trying to figure out how it functions. Nobody stops him. It'll be disassembled in 5 minutes flat. Sprout, let's go check on that catcher, shall we? Sure, I'll just unload the rest of it myself. Thanks, Cole, much obliged. Abby built her catcher before I finished laying the foundation of our cabin. Oh, so, I'm guessing his wife, and from the way he talks about her, she's dead. She's for sure dead. It seems like a lifetime ago. Near enough, I suppose. Did you bring the crowbar? That was your job. Oh, man. Grudgingly, he scurries off to the barn. Shield my eyes from the sun and inspect the catcher's sails, making sure they're still serviceable. She wanted to make it taller, but there was only so much we could do with stone and scrap metal. While Silas fetches the crowbar, I disconnect the wires and bleed off the excess grace. There's more than I'd expect. Must be a front moving through right now. That's the downside of this kind of farming. You're always at the mercy of weather you can't see, and the lean years can be awful hard to predict. The fat years, oh, when the wheat bends low and every ripe ear ready to burst, those years are very nice indeed. Silas comes back panting and sweating, the tool tucked into his waistband. You had an hook. I already disconnected the sails, just rest a moment. Just pry open the door when you've caught your breath. We're not in a rush. I got it. It's too heavy. As long as his body has leverage, he only managed to crack the maintenance hatch ajar. Jesus. But it's enough for me to wedge my fingers under, and together we yank it open. The fruity scent of ozone and ether of grace floats out. Inside lies the grace catcher's core, a small lump of petalite, floating in a shallow basin of rainwater. Is this some kind of magic? What is this? What's next, Sprout? We convert some of the water to peroxide. That reacts with the lithium compounds in the core, converting it back into something that the grace can flow into. Yep, that's right. I think you can handle Enfulgur. Enfulgur? What is going on? So there's some science here, like with the peroxide lithium stuff, but what the fuck is grace here? Trying to figure that out. Of course I can. Remember not to touch the core unless you're looking to get shocked. So it's electricity then. Right. He bites his lips as he strains to touch Grace. Lucky Kid is the rare sort that can tune thrice. Grace and memory he knows well, but gravity is a work in progress. Lacks the stamina or control I had at his age, though I suppose he suffers some for having had worse teachers. But soon enough sparks dance between his fingers, bristling his fur. Think we're good to go? Your paw doesn't feel prickly or numb? No, not at all. Then slowly now let it change the water. Don't try and force it. The stench thickens as the water seethes. Doesn't take long to make enough peroxide to refresh such a small core. That should do. You can let it go, son. No, I can keep going. If you make the solution too strong, it'll turn your fur white on natural light, I mean, and then it'll fall out and have one pallbearer for the season. Fine. Don't recall asking for your lip. Sorry. He dispels the room with a smidge of contrition, and together we wash the core with the bubbling solution. It scintillates softly, glowing faintly violet as small amounts of ambient grace react with metal catalyst. God! I love it. Una furry VN of all things, is 4 little words like that. Like, that's not even that big of a word. Trust me, I've seen bigger. But, it's amazing to see someone in this fandom use that word correctly. Use any big word correctly, and actually have good grammar and shit. God. After we're done, we replace the hatch and wipe our paws on a handy rag, bleached and mottled from so often being used for exactly this purpose. Elma would have my sack for a purse if we got any of this caustic stuff on our clothes. Good job, Sprout. Anything else needs doing today? Silas slaps the crowbar against his offhand. Oh shit, Pearl ain't been milked yet. Not as much on the way she was carrying on. It's not good for her to be kept waiting. Oh boy, they have a cow or something. Oh no. Ah boy. I'm on at that, sorry. Watch him race across the barren field to the barn. Might not be the most reliable, but he's got some kind of brain in his skull, that kid. Wow, that's a bit fucked up, dude. Wow, okay. When he showed up at Tan's front door, a cub of 13, my old friend didn't know what to do with him. I like to think I raised him the best I could. There I am, gathering wool again. Better get moving or lose half the day that way. Place the catcher's hatch and reconnect the sails. Then I head back to see how Elma's coming along with dinner. Oh, okay, this is a cozy little cabin, jeez. Elma has a great pot of soup on the hob with great bits of leek and potato bobbing on the surface as it simmers. She's probably just making the fucking broth right now, but whatever. She seasoned it almost most delectably with some secret blend of frequent herbs. Really, Thatcher, you wouldn't be able to sneak about and spoil dinner, would you? Wasn't sneaking. Mm-hmm. Silas and I just finished with the catcher, and I wondered if maybe we could talk about. Well, okay, dude. She's making fucking meal. Stop. Jesus, you horny bastard. Why is this always so fucking prevalent in these VNs? I hate it. Probably not gonna be that, or I splash with too many emotions for me to untangle. Slumping Angeline's in the kitchen counter. There's nothing to talk about, Thatch. There's a fancy brought on by too much ale. Oof. Oof. Never meant to take it so far. Oh my god. We just had some really great scenes with him building his character and learning about, like, the world that this is in and whatever the fuck a grace catcher is. It looks like a windmill. But for magic, maybe. And now we're having this shit happen. Of course we are, because it's just, of course. I don't buy that for a sliver of a second. What do you want me to say, Thatch? Jesus, that's a sentence. There's a lot to unpack here. Yeah, I can tell. That's so. She ties her apron strings, pulling them tighter. You never even noticed. Doesn't matter. Elma. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's a shit ton to unpack here. Crying Christmas. Please, Thatch, if you have any regard for me at all, forget what we said last night. Keep me as your housekeeper, the manager, your parish, your cook. Nothing more. I know I haven't been myself since... Her eyes blaze, coring me like an apple fit for stewing. Since when? For a very long time now. Long enough that I've forgotten who the old Thatcher was. Eesh. That's, Ooh, that's some good character. That's some good character depth. There's so much you could glean from a sentence like that. Oh, man. So I'm lovesick for a ghost. How thin that both the Whittaker sisters are doomed to love what isn't there. Wow. Okay, then. Gods, what a fool I am. Would you let me finish? Trying to say I don't know. This is who I am now. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot here. There's a lot I could talk about from just these lines. I could make so many hypotheses about their characters and their history. And obviously, I'm pretty sure that Abby might have been his wife. So the fact that now that he's... Yeah, that's a lot. That's what I'm guessing, at least. Hell of a pause, playing out my gnarled fingers. So many... Okay. So many liver spots, so many scars, such veins. Okay, that's a lot. Could I even lift my old sledgehammer? That's a question. I doubt it. I missed my mark. That's not who she fell in love with. I don't deserve your patience. If you want to make go of us together, I'm here for you now. Can't say I'm sorry I ever keeping you waiting. Jesus. Jesus. I'm not looking to fill a spot you're leaving for her. Jeez. I mean, this in the kindest way possible, Alma, but you wouldn't be. She purses her lips. I know that came out wrong, but I don't know how else to say it. I think we understand each other. Just a little bit. Perhaps. So then, if you're sure, then we see where this leads. To wreck and ruin, I'm sure, but... There's that smile of hers, brighter than the lodestar. So that must be like North Star in this universe. Again, with the subtle world building, not the in-your-face world building. I'll give it half a chance. Okay. Now go hustle the boys, tell them to be in an hour or two. Yes, ma'am. Thatch. Aye. Trust what keeps between us. Can't imagine anyone around here taking offense. Probably not, but... Understood, I'll follow your lead. Oh my god, do you see this landscape? This is so pretty. I helped Cole put the plow back and we called her Silas in the barn. He washed up at the rain barrel in the back, wiping off the day's sweat and crime. Pearl paused gently, no doubt wondering what all the commotion is. Oh, so there's other animals in this, and there's animals in this world, other than, whatever. Good, you're all here. Mr. Khan, would you find fetching the table linens, please? Silas set the places. Need me to dress the salad? No hard to have, go fetch your seat. Right, right. Oh boy, this has been uncomfortable. Oh boy, they're having a fucking dinner. Oh boy. That was about as comfortable spitting out orders in the kitchen as the old captain was in the battlefield. More characterization, more history for this dude. He was in the army, apparently. As commanded, I fetched the old tree stump from its place by the back door. It's too heavy to lift, and I rolled along its edge at the head of the table. Others gathered around. Silas's Alabama fills our bowls one by one, and I pass the salad around. This is just so weird. Thanks for cooking. Yeah. You're more than welcome. Don't eat too much now, Silas. Elma's got a surprise for you on account of us missing your birthday. I still get presents? Elma chuckles and uncovers a frying pan she's kept warming. Her side, an earthy smell escapes in a burst of steam along with an overpowering wave of onions. Oh wow, it smells so amazing. Thanks, Alma. You should be thanking that. You should be thanking Thatcher. He's the one who bought it. She passes the liver on a plate and covers them with fried onions. Golden brown and crispy. That doesn't sound good at all. Silas's eyes glow with hunger. Thanks, Thatcher. You're welcome, Sprout. I also got something for you. Here, try this on. Colm pulls a flimsy square of fabric from his pouch. If I'm not mistaken, those are his clan colors. What's that? It's a bandana, for keeping the sweat off your neck. Yeah, I'll show you how to put it on. Folds in a triangle and rolls one edge down. The flourish, he ties it loosely around Silas's neck. I was wondering if it was going to show up. I was wondering. Thanks, I like how colorful it is. I'm sure I got a lot of use of this summer. You're more than welcome, little Betty. Oh, that reminds me. Alan's been teaching you memory craft, is that right? He's a quick stud. It's easy enough to memorize a bunch of random nonsense words. Wow, okay. Hard part is concentrate on the stupid details at the same time. Yes, your focus isn't as developed as it could be. But you know the exercise of sharpening your wits, and by themselves they don't take all that long. Have to get into the habit of doing them every day. Well, I was wrong, that's the hard part. Doing every day part. Well, if you're looking for a break, I've been practicing gravity this season. Really? So long as you keep with your chores. I will promise. I'll hold you to that. Cole's right. We've all got plenty of work to do if we're expecting to kick back and enjoy Beltane properly. Now eat up. Heal up before it gets cold. Silas spears the sliver and brings it to his lips, sniffing at the unfamiliar food. If y'all excuse me, I've got things to square away. Oh, see you back at the barn? Mm-hmm. Thanks for the meal, miss. You're more than welcome, dear. After the first couple bites, Silas is hooked. Whatever Alma did deliver, it seems to agree with its taste. If I'm getting full, sure you don't want any, Alma? Yeah, it just seems a shame to let go to waste. Oh, Silas, you shouldn't do that. It's rude offering me to an herbivore. Actually, if you're offering, I'll try a bite. But I'm really curious what all the fuss is about. He almost stares at me like I've grown a second head. But a little piece won't hurt, surely. Silas transports a bit from his plate to mine between the claws of his thumb and forefinger. Brown bits look appetizing, perhaps, but the gray bits look off. Well, look at first. Onion, sweet onion, that's all. And some bitter and metallic. Imagine it's rich in fury if it had so much blood in it. I chew it once or twice, but don't be crushed flat by such flat, worn-down teeth. reduced to swallowing it whole. Lingers on my palate, not good at all by any stretch of the imagination, but also not altogether bad. So, we're dealing with, like, a situation. Huh. Let's try another bite sometime. It's pretty good. I've already had my fill. You're too reckless, Hatch. Wake up with a sour stomach, don't come with me looking for help. Duly noted, miss. Thanks again, Ellen may be excused. Sure thing, hurry off to bed then. See you both in the morning. Good night, Sprout. Together, Elm and I clear the table. It's a two-person job. I gather up the scraps for compost, and she takes the dishes to the washing tub out back. She prefers growing her vegetables and herbs the old way, with compost and rainwater rather than grace. I suspect it's how she was taught growing up. Give the midden heap with a turn and flip with a pitchfork and tuck it in. There's an unending list of things I've been meaning to repair around the house. Doors that squeak, floorboards pulling up, nails that have to be hammered back down. Ah, the joys of building your own house. There's never been any end to the things you have to fix on it. Jesus. I would definitely imagine. I find Alma still up in the kitchen, often these late evenings with the boys in barn and twilight running dry, and we fall into chatting over the embers. You know, Thatch, your wool is getting unkempt. Is that so? I mean, no offense. When have you ever offended me? Man, when did you last trim your wool? Couldn't have been that long ago. Really? Because it looks, Now this I want to hear. Shaggy. I'm afraid so. Well then, can't have an elder going around looking shaggy. Suppose I should mow myself down tomorrow. About that. What now? Could you perhaps get one of the boys to help you? You see, she sighs. Last time you missed a few spots. I didn't. Sorry, but you did. Oh, I don't know. They're already settled for bed. Perhaps. Nah. Perhaps you'd be willing? Wow, that's a question. Hatch, no, that'd be improper. Is it any more proper for me to walk around town? What did you say, Shaggy? No. But Colin can cheat back. Jesus, this is a lot of dialogue. Best to get it done now, don't you think? Just in case I forget later. Trying to pause and end it out on the face. My dear, earnest, lovely Alma, Jesus Christ. She's toying with me, I think. Of course she is. She's a fucking weirdo. Perhaps she's testing my resolve. You have shown some forgetful street as of late. Did you want me to get started on my own? That'll call her bluff. It's probably easier for me to take care of all of it. I mean, save you the trouble. Oh. Well, guess I'll be upstairs. Right behind you. Is this really just, like, code for... Yeah, I thought so, yeah. Okay, then. Have I read her wrong? Take care of all of it, she said. Okay, yeah, I'm pausing it now. I don't want to... yeah, I have to pause it now. Okay, so that's over. All you really missed that was important to the story and his character was that he is 9 siblings. He's like 8 siblings, and he's like the middle child, and he hasn't seen them since the war. And he doesn't want to go find them in case they're dead. That's what you missed, basically. Yeah, there's a lot of characterization, even in scenes like that. So, yeah. As spring broke over the mountain, the 4 of us back into our routine. First growing season always the hardest, and I kind of having to clear away the winter. In our practice together, Sprout learned plowshare. His tune to gravity was there, sure enough, but weak as a sickly kitten. First furrow, truth be told, pitiful. A hand's breadth wide and barely as deep as any claw. Poor lad was mortified. He'll get better with more practice, with more training. but every hour I spend with him is one that Cole spends plowing alone. Days get longer, the nights grow warmer. Wheel of the year creeps onward, week by too short week. Boys and I are eating lunch when a call calls from up the front gate. Call comes from the front gate. Hello? Anyone home? Who's that? Where are you Were you expecting someone, Thatch? No? Stay put, I'll take a look. What voice did I give you? Hey, Thatch. For a moment there, I thought I had the wrong farm. Tim? What are you doing here? I'm in between lodgings, as it were. Well, if I'm speaking truly, the fault was my own. May have said some things that, while strictly true, were not necessarily kind. I thought something like that might happen. What brings you to our neck of the woods? Several reasons. My primary concern is this temporary homelessness of mine, which is surprisingly inconvenient. Could probably find a more copacetic domicile in a neighboring village, or Shalkis in the worst case, but that would really impact my research. Okay. I only just started surveying this particular sub-region of southern Sclera, you see. Quite the dilemma. And at the baths, I ran into the butcher, who seems to be a mutual friend. Says I might find succor here. Tan and I do have a sort of unspoken agreement that I help out any visiting carnivores in a tight spot. I don't mind as long as they haven't done any real harm. Tim's situation is exactly like that, but we can't have one around the valley like a vagabond. Someone might get the wrong idea. Well, how long do you think your survey will take? A season or two, I think. Any longer, I'll need several years to research all of Sclera. Oh, and only ever hears foreigners call it that, huh? Sounds weird every time. I'm not running a charity, you know. I can pay. Just perhaps not as much as you imagine. Platea's row is rough on my purse, and I'm not due for an increment of funding until Beltane. How much actual farming have you done in your time? Excuse me? Any good at plowing or hoeing? Whichever the situation requires. He didn't answer my question. What if I hired you on as a farmhand? Can't think of a way for you to study our farming practices, can you? You mean some kind of hands-on experience? Sure, why don't you come around back and meet the boys? Oh, jeez. Is this everyone, then? I might change his voice, because this one also, whatever. Oh, well, Elma's out tending her garden, but you've already met her. Boys, this is Tim. Tim, meet Colin and Silas. Nice to meet you. Likewise. Yeah, that definitely fits him better. Tim here is looking for a place to stay. Coincidentally, we're a bit short-staffed, so meet our new farmhand. Is that so? Yep, let's wrap up lunch and get back to it. We skipped training yesterday, Thatch. That's right. Cole, why don't you pull out a smaller plow for Tim? Get him comfortable with it on the vegetable patch. It's going to be halfway the supper before it's sharp enough to use. Especially for a greenhorn. I've no horns, Mr. Colin, but I know a rune that retains blades to their former glory. Won't take but a moment. No right-thinking man trusts his back to fancy words. Tim barks a laugh until Cole stands up, flexing his muscles. That shuts the fucks up. Glad to have you around, Tim. Come on, Sprout, let's give these two a chance to get acquainted. Oh, boy. Oh, we're in the forest now. That's nice. We hike to a glade of fir trees about a half-click off the mountain path. It's where I come when I need to listen to myself think. Yeah, that's what I'd do too if I lived in a place like this. Just go off in the woods to think. Alright, now hop a squat on that stump yonder, and we'll go back over the basics. Silas yawns, though from boredom or after lunch snoozes, I'm not sure. Gravity, what is it? Hold on a minute. How do you know I'm even tuned? What if that one plowshare was just, I don't know, lucky? You know this already, Silas. You can tune memory because you can charge tin. You can charge silver, so by God you turn gravity too. But the spell barely made a dent. Easier to make the same mark with my claw. See how you do it. When I was a cub, you used to do whole roads with nothing but a word and sip of your paw. You need more practice, more concentration. When I was your age, the other two powers are so damned easy. 4A or gravity teacher, and I still can't do a single thing right. Takes time, kid. Leaps off the stumps, claws splayed. Moves so fast, I don't even have time to flinch. Not a kid anymore. Stance isn't right for scratching. At least I don't think he means to hurt me. Catch his wrist by surprise and twist his elbow against him. 9 hells, I didn't raise a feral. Put your claws away or you can forget about plowing this year. Empty threat, but it does the trick. Squirms his hand out of my grip and rubs at his wrist. I don't think I hurt him any, though. Sits back down, holding his head in his paws. Fighting back tears, I can tell. Talk to me, Sprout. What's going on? Don't want to leave, Thatch. What do you mean? Cole was my age when he left home, so I thought... Silas, buddy, Cole left his father's house for his own reasons. Most of them going by the name of Susanna. 2 meters tall she was, and full to the brim with piss and thunder. Oh boy. But that's another story. There's no law saying a man can't stay with his folks until he's found his true vocation. And I'd be a fool to get got a thrice tuned in any case. So I can stay? As long as you want. I swear. Damn it, Dash, I've been such an idiot. Can you forgive me? Hangs around my neck like a yoke, burying his muzzle in my chest. Got his back, let him sob, all wrongs forgiven. Lad's always been so excitable, but as of late he's been downright mercutio. Ugh. I love this author. Whoever writes this, I love them. I suppose I was like that once too, before the war. Hey, it's alright, no harm, no foul. Didn't mean to. I wasn't gonna hurt you. I know, lad. Sorry. Brush a tear off his cheek, clasp on the shoulder. Oh, he was crying, okay. Oh well. Gentle but firm, like I wish my old man had done. Let's get back to your training, alright? Yeah. Initial session for a couple hours. Then Elma calls us to dinner. The others are waiting for us by the time we finish washing our paws. Elma's secured another old stump for our guest, who looks sweaty and winded, but not too out of sorts. I smile at the thought of Cole put our new hand through his paces. Dinner tonight is fresh bread, pearls, cheese, and more of the winter crops of potatoes. These last baked by the fire and slathered in butter. Truth be told, I'm getting sick of taters. So, Cole, how'd the new guy do? Does he pass muster? Barely scraped a single row. That's only because I had less than an hour on the field. I'll look through dinner if that's what it takes. You're fine, Tim. Take a breather. I have to chuckle. It's clearly put everything he had into it. Poor guy's drinking water by the liter. Alright. Hey, not too much water at once. You'll make yourself sick. Got any vinegar, Alma? So you're not thinking of a switchel? Or something of that sort. Never heard of getting switchel for an hour's work. Be charitable, Cole. He's not a horse. Tim clears his throat, putting some steel in his spine. Water alone is sufficient, but I'll take some fresh beer if you can spare it. I only asked for some time to acclimate to working at this altitude. The air is surprisingly thin. But by the end of this week, I'll keep up with this hulking brute of yours, and upon the honor of the quick tales. Well, I'd like to see that. Are we taking beds? No, I think I had enough entertainment at our guest's expense. Thanks for being a good sport, Tim. But I had a different job in mind, one more suited to your talents. What's that? Silas here could use some instruction, some formal training. Education of the magical sort, I mean. Tim hummed, giving the weasel a fresh appraisal. A student, how fascinating. What's your name, boy? Silas. What training have you done so far? I've been able to tune Grace for as long as I could remember. Miss Elma taught me everything I know about memory, and that's just trying to show me how to use gravity, sir. You're thrice tuned. I just picked up the last one over winter. And you're how old now? 18, sir. Oh, he's... Then I suppose it's not impossible. Lucky bastard. Silas flinches. Poor choice of words there, Tim. Well, I'm equal to the task, but I should warn you that in my country I'd be barred from giving instruction until my thesis is accepted. You're from Thick, is that right? Yeah, I've lived there most of my life. Joined the lower academy before I could spell my name. So what's your purpose here, then? Gathering data on farming practices, along with other items of cultural historical significance. Why? Cole, there's no need to interrogate him. It's quite alright. How to explain? It's more or less the same that what you do on the farm, except for the end product. As architectians, our aim is to harvest ideas. Cole grumbles into his salad, unsatisfied with his answer. When he's finished, Silas and I clear a place to make room for Elma's dessert, oat biscuits and clotted cream. Over nibbles, she extracts an anecdote or two from the fact about his travels. Haven't seen half the places he talks about in the West, but the Scleran counties nearest to the city. Nor have I seen Himira in many, many years. Fox paints an altogether different picture of its gilded minarets. As his last story trails off to an end, Colin pipes up with a gruff, sour tone. On that note, I'm turning in. Thanks for dinner, Alma. Oh, right. Was there anyone in particular I should bid down? Is there a spare bale of hay in the barn? Otherwise, there's always the floor by the hearth. Have a care that Elma doesn't trip over you in the morning, though. It was one time, Thatch. And the cicadas sang that somewhere, which tells you how long ago it was. Silas can stay in the loft with me. Perfect. Why don't we get everyone settled in before it gets dark? Again, this is fucking pretty. That is gorgeous. Abby and I built the barn for livestock back when I thought that'd be easier than farming. Season proved me wrong, so when Cole came on, I offered him the run of it instead, no offense intended. Didn't seem to take any. Of course, when Silas came along, Cole moved to the second floor to give the weasel the same courtesy. I can hear the two of them carrying on inside about their new sleeping arrangements. Hopefully 3 doesn't make a crowd. Here we are, Tim. It's not Boris's inn, and there's no feather bed, but it's warm and dry. Only downside are noisy bunkmates. I appreciate your hospitality. I'll see to as much as I can in the time allotted, provided it doesn't interfere with my own studies. That's still a fair trade. I'm glad you agree, but speaking of that, I have another favor to ask. What do you need from me? When I spoke to Elma in town, she referred to a spot in the mountains where you salvage or used to salvage scrap metal. She wasn't clear, perhaps there were also some trinkets or small objects of unclear origin. Elma should have known better than to blab like that to a stranger of all silly things. I'm a little peeved. Yeah, so? How would I like you to take me there? I have reason to believe it might be an archaeological site of considerable value. I don't trust this fucker, so no. It's not a great time, Tim. Sure, I'm sure you can tell we're already behind on the planting. I didn't want to press the issue on my own, but my offer to tutor this house is incredibly generous. Even a scleral gnome might not be able to afford the privilege. I think a simple day of travel in exchange for that is an entirely reasonable request. The epitome of generosity on both our parts. Don't you agree? Fine, you've made your point, but just one day we're back home before dark. I can work with that. Oh, god damn it, so it happens anyway. After breakfast the following morning, Tim holds me to my word. We take the backcountry trail past the back 40, where the last of our winter wheat still ripens. Wind winds higher still into the mountains, flirting in and out of the peaks before descending somewhere to the north. But for today, we need only hike 4 or 5 kilometers. I'll grant you this, you've got a clever thing set up here. The prevailing grace must follow along the spine of the mountains. Though whether it's coming or going, I can't be sure. How did you invent that fascinating accumulator? I don't believe I've seen its like. Most Clarens stick to more classical designs. Wasn't me. My wife built the one by the house. Silas copied it last year. You're married, but I thought... Been at the river for a while now. My condolences. You didn't know. And you're gravity-tuned, of course, so I assume Silas isn't the only one refreshing accumulator cores. I'm twice tuned, with Grace as well. Well, I see. But with neither form of vision, surely. No. Well, there is some. A smell, I suppose, but too vivid to be a real scent. A kind of synesthesia? I have no clue what that means. Perhaps. Interesting. That kind of reaction is relatively uncommon. Puts me in the mind of a certain passage from the lesser Cleometrics. Let me think. Ah, yes. There was an order of Elephantine astrologers who are said to tune memory with their trunks. Could be that your gift is related in some way. Huh. Never seen an elephant, let alone stargazing one. I'd be surprised if you did. They came with the first migration and headed south where the skies were clear and therefore better suited for their art. Are they still there? He yips and kicks at the grass. No, they were doomed from the beginning. Nickel dust inhalation is a silent killer and a terrible fate. And on top of that, they all took vows of celibacy. Well, no wonder they died out. I think the gods of the scholastic life no longer demands that level of commitment. I wouldn't last a week. I can't imagine I'd farewell myself. Oh, is that so? Were there any other elephant tribes? Not of which I'm aware. If there were any left, they'd live on the far side of the world with the rest of your kind. I can't say I've ever held a special fondness for elephants, but the thought of them going extinct strikes a chord. In our folk tales, they were giants that walked larger than life. Great heroes, or the tutors to such, and always questioned around to uphold justice and virtue. Or some bullshit like that. Pity no one else has taken up their cause in these troubled times. How much further are these ruins of yours? Still a couple clicks to go. I should pick up the pace when it be about before dark. We reached the ladder before noon, and I'm faintly surprised to see it's still attached. To be honest, I was hoping it had fallen down at some point. As the wind picks up, I can see the advantage of the Thecan's trousers. My own cloak flaps like a sail, randomly diving me forward or holding me back as it pleases. Where's the entrance? There's a hole in the side about, say, 10 meters up. Hence the ladder. Luck shields his eye from the sun with his paw, squinting up the rock wall. That's, pretty high. We were avid climbers in those days. By way of demonstration, I lean into the wall and take a step or two up, thrusting my hooves to find suitable holes in the craggy outcrop. My legs are not as sturdy as they were. I wouldn't survive the climb now, of course, but I'm pleased that there's still some of the knack of the rail left in me. Why bother with the ladder at all? Not right on your back. It's the going up that's easy. Getting down in one piece is another story. Fair point. I hop down, dusting off my legs. Tim looks back up the ladder and sighs, waving me ahead. Well, age before beauty. Isn't that me either way? The long swooping hairs of his eyebrows twitch. Snorts with laughter. I suppose. Gets cooler the higher we get. Tim not exactly keeping up. You alright down there? Yeah. Just looking at this transition in the rock strata. A what? It's what I'd expect from a fallen Krenog, that's all. A Cranog here. Don't hear them floating over Sclera that often, but, well, I suppose one could have fallen here. We'll see what you think of the inside. True, I shouldn't jump to conclusions as to any expedition. Expedition? You're only just taking a look around, right? Well, for now. For now? Keep moving, Tim. The cold will numb your paws if you dawdle. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to show him this. Because he's gonna find something in there that he finds interesting, and then he's gonna bring this whole expedition out and take the place over. I helped him over the lip of the cave mouth, even with a rucksack full of God knows what. He doesn't weigh all that much. We paused for a moment on the threshold to catch our breath. Hazy green and purple blobs fade away as my eyes adjust to the dark. What's your opinion of this place, out of curiosity? Not sure. Some forgotten outpost of the Lotheka. Step or two beyond the cave mouth, and the long tunnel or hallway, perhaps, is choked on all sides with ferns and vines. They grow all over each other in tangled mats, like a bag of snakes or a king of rats. Ugh. God, I hate now. Those are gross. I hate them. You'd expect it to smell rotten, or at least of dust and decay, but instead they are as ripe with the verdant fragrance of too many plants. The conclave do not count among their numbers any great stonemasons, but perhaps this is not to be outside the limits of their craft. Given the tilt of the floor, I'd say this chamber was cut long before the Cranach fell. Now that he mentions it, the floor does slant to one corner and the walls are out of plumb. Never noticed it before. Tim climbs over a dense thicket of ivy, scraping it away from the wall with his claws. Gods, was it always this overgrown? The grace here is quite thick, and it's even worse inside. Indeed, if I stay more than a day or so, my head will start to swim. Puts me in the mind of Alma's winter cake, packed with dry fruit and soaked in the finest brandy. A cloyingly sweet alcoholic flavor coating the back of my throat. That's vivid. That's another thing this writer does really well. Extremely vivid description. Yeah, there's something etched on the walls here. Put up a gloaming for me. Sure thing. While he studies the wall, I briskly glance at the door on the opposite side. Shut tight just as we left it. We left open the more obvious exit at the end of the corridor. It's too remote to decipher. If I had to guess, it's not conclave Thekin. The loops and whorls of that script are exceedingly difficult to carve into stone. There's a faint trace of ammonia, however. Bats? Could be. We split more than a few on our first couple trips. Did you visit here often? When he asked me to bring it up here, I didn't think anything of it, but now that he's asking these questions, well, some stones are better left unturned. All this talk of expeditions and investigations. I can imagine a whole crew of feckin' know-it-alls ruin around my backyard. I don't like it. One is bad enough. Every once in a while when the harvest was slow. I really don't want to be here anyway. I'll point him toward the dead end and then we can turn back. Didn't find much on our own, of course. But all we could do was get to that door open yonder. He extricates himself from the weeds and I follow him down the corridor. Overgrowth edges closer in on either side, cradling the stone double doors. Tim yips softly in surprise and excitement at every passing thing. A strange plant, a crack in the floor, a half-effaced something on the surface of the door. Suddenly nostalgic for the days when this place presented a fresh mystery for the two of us, before it became clear we would never unravel its truth alone. Think you can still squeeze through? Shouldn't be a problem. Every now I'm 10 kilo shy of my fighting weight. What the? There's a fucking throne in here? Tim slips through with vulpine ease. Of course, I only make it through with great effort, barking my shin against a jagged edge for my trouble. The gloaming flickers into a yet brighter, heatless flame. Wow. Wish I could share his enthusiasm. My gut is churning 3 different ways at once. Okay, yeah, something happened here. Something happened here with his wife. And he, yeah, definitely something like that. Something bad happened here in his past, at least. Too much grace, not enough fresh air. Okay, that make that. I was wrong. Well, there's no mistaking the architecture. Only only Zarians made rooms so perfectly hemispherical. So they had some long-lost gravity or doing specifically adapted to the purpose. The who? The Zarian Empire. They were the original inhabitants of Aurelia, from before the first minute migration. Aurelia, oh boy, Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius. I love his writings. Before the conflict crossed the desert, even. Do you have no legends about a people who lived in the sky? They lived in a massive floating archipelago of Knogs, as far east as the Placid Ocean, who knows how far north or west. I've heard featherfolk deep in their cups yearn for some ancestral home in the clouds. Tall tales, those. Yes, that is mere folklore, I agree. No, the Zarians have the smell of true history about them. In our great library, I have seen the precious few artifacts of their civilization that survived. His ears twitch and he scans the room fitfully, peering into the shadows that the glowman cannot illuminate. Did you hear that? No. Sounded like someone grunting. Bats? They're more squeaky than grunty. Rats, perhaps. Didn't sound like a rat. He shrugs and presses further, and I can do little but follow. Now, what do we have here? The chiseled, silvery contours of the throne. Abby's name for it. Oh, that was my first thought, too. Okay. Glint as it comes into the light. In their time, the Zarians were masters of gracecraft. It's said they farmed the Chronologs much as you do, but on a vastly larger scale. Fairy tale, surely. You'd be hard-pressed to find a hectare of arable Chronog. Maybe there were more of them once. God's throne of several angles before turning his attention to the worn little bas-reliefs carved in the pedestal. You didn't scrape the throne. It was beyond art to smelt and too large to move in any case. Beyond that, seemed wrong somehow. A grave robbed with a sense of honor? Fuck off. My heart grudgingly sustains the truth of the sentiment. When we got here, there were no skeletons or, gods forbid, corpses. We assumed that meant it was vacant, the previous owners all departed. But if it's really a fallen Krenog, well, the bodies would have decayed long ago, leaving a greedy and vengeful spirit behind. I'm very annoyed at the shiver that runs down my spine. I had made of sterner stuff than this, for crying out loud. A finder on this scale merits several traces. Can you lift the light up higher and perhaps brighten it severalfold? I'll need to see clearly every detail. What's the magic word? How am I supposed to know your very incantation? Please, Tim. The magic word is please. Oh. Of course, please, Thatcher. As you wish. He's at his spell casting for several minutes, muttering his own nonsense words and staring intently at the throne and the carvings. The two figures on either side have eroded some over the years. You used to be able to tell that the one left was a great bull with horns as long as his arms, and, well, completely naked. Abby always got a kick out of seeing him. Reminds me, while we're here, I wanted to see if I left some of her old things behind. Last trip. Maybe she left her bag in the corner behind a chunk of rubble. But no, there's nothing there. Damn. What are you looking for? Jump out a meter, spinning around to see him behind me, peering around my side. How long had he been staring? Nothing. Are you finished? Yep, I take it the way we came in is only entrance. Aye, that's everything. Just the overgrown hall and this throne thing here. The throne? Well, perhaps. How disappointing. Tim turns back to consider the chair again. Something flickers in the dark, or two somethings. What's that? Huh? Over there. In the half-light, a blur and flash of ivory, something sharp that shimmers. It grunts and shrieks, and charges, a barrel the size of pearl or even larger. Lose track of the gloaming and with it the light. I hear a rip, a tear, and then it's on me. Swing wildly at the bristled lump, a blow glancing off its shank. Screeches again, a feral boar, it has to be. Wedged against the wall, it writhes against me, trying to bite or gouge me with its tusks. Dim light sprouts from the beast's hind end before shattering like glass and fading away. Boar screams and scrambles away, hollering bloody murder as it goes. Thatcher! Oh. It's backward in the frigid stone. Jeez. The gloaming, can't see anything without it. Terrified, I probe my guts, my thighs, bruises, yes, but nothing seems broken. Did she get you? She? What? The boar, her test water developed. I think I'm fine. You? Just my pride. Sorry, Thatch, I wasn't expecting a confrontation. What did you throw at it? A rock? Just glad it was enough. I owe you one, Quicktail. Where did it go? If it's waiting for us in the corridor. I don't think so. The squirrel went the other way. The other way? Oh, she got your trouser leg. Oh yeah, I missed skin by a centimeter. So where did it lead to then? Back to its den, I suppose. But there must be another way out. Where I can advise him against falling a raging feral back to its home. The well-named fox skips off. There it is, a tunnel hidden behind this facade. Damn it! Did you know this was here? Damn, the Zarians were clever stoneworkers. Tim, it's high time we head back. What? It's surely well past noon, dust will be on us before we notice. Not now, Thatcher. This tunnel could lead us to the greatest archaeological find of a generation. I already know where it leads. I drug her body through that tunnel, past the great rowan to the very edge of the cliff. God tell me if there's any remains. I'm ashamed of this tremulous desire to see what's left behind. Her true self is now far beyond my sight, cooling her hooves on the banks of the river. Every child knows that. I know that. And yet here I am. Fate brought me back to her grave. Part of me knows it would break my heart to learn that her spirit lingered. A revenant haunted by pain and anguish. No, even as a furious revenant, I would still embrace her. It's time I will see her again. And into the fire with the fox and his damned philosophy. Fine, let's go. Finally. Jesus. Jesus, okay. Whew, there's a lot to unpack in this game. But guess what, motherfuckers? You're not getting the end. No, we're stopping here. I'm doing cliffhangers. Yeah. Um. Okay, so I guess now I can talk about this part of it. It's still really good. I'm really fucking liking this visual novel. The characterization's great. The fucking writing's really good. Like leagues better than most VNs out there in this like sphere of it, at least. There's actual thought put in to revealing the characters like insecurities and stuff, and actually trying to flesh them out before you learn anything about them. I like that. I like that so much. The subtle world building that doesn't like interrupt the narrative at all. That just gets passed off in like little hand thoughts that he has. Amazing, great, just perfect. It's just that's how you do world building. It's not whatever I said this last time, but yeah, I'm definitely getting the sense that this whole expedition thing they're doing here isn't gonna end well. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video or whatever. I don't know. Bye bye.